very tough with Russia. This isn't just business as usual.
This is New Day with Chris Cuomo and Allison Camerata.
We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is a special Independence Day edition of New Day. It is Tuesday, July 4th, 6 o'clock here in New York. Chris is off today. John Berman joins me.
Happy birthday, America.
Great to have you here. We begin on the starting line with breaking news. A new provocation from North Korea. The regime claims it successfully launched its first intercontinental ballistic missile, landing roughly 200 miles from Japan's coast. If true, it would be a significant development in North Korea's efforts to threaten the U.S. President Trump reacting on Twitter, asking if Kim Jong, quote, has anything better to do with his life, and suggesting China could increase pressure on North Korea.
The president is preparing for a crucial international trip where he will meet with many world leaders at the G20 summit, including a face-to-face session with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This as New Jersey Governor Chris Christie tries to move past his Beach Day controversy, signing a budget deal that ends the government shutdown and reopens all state parks and beaches today. We have this all covered. First, let's deal with North Korea. We're going to go to CNN's Paula Hancock, who's live in Seoul, South Korea for the latest. Paula.
Well, John, this is certainly a significant announcement from North Korea. They have said it is an historic event for North Korea, a successful testing of an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. We've just heard from South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff. They said they are still looking into it. They haven't accepted it's an ICBM, but they are also not denying that that could be the case. Now, looking at the figures that we have from North Korea in that state-run media announcement, an altitude of over 1,700 miles for this missile, a distance of over 570 miles. They say it flew for 39 minutes. Now, that is different to what we heard from US Pacific Command much earlier. So just after the launch, their initial assessment, they said they didn't believe it was an ICBM. We haven't heard an update from them either. But certainly North Korea is convinced that it was. They say that Kim Jong, the North Korean leader, signed the order. He ordered this. We see an image of him as well, actually giving his signature. He was there at the test site, and he has claimed this a great success. So certainly much concern around the region. The South Korean President Moon Jae-in saying that he warns North Korea not to cross the bridge of no return. Also saying that if North Korea does cross the red line, then he said for US and South Korea, we don't know what our response would be, but he doesn't specify what the red line is. John?
All right, Paula Hancock for us in Seoul. Paula, thank you so much. President Trump did respond immediately after the launch. He scolded Kim Jong with a statement that he put out on Twitter. The president once again has called on China to ramp up pressure on North Korea, and all this as he prepares to travel to Germany for the G20 summit, where he will meet face-to-face with many world leaders, including for the first time with Vladimir Putin. Now, this is a meeting that could reshape the global political landscape. CNN's Suzanne Malveaux live at the White House with the latest on that. Suzanne.
Good morning, John. Well, North Korea's aggression again testing this president, putting pressure on him to see how he will respond, whether or not he will actually escalate the tension between the countries. At the same time, he is also encouraging and pushing China to play a much bigger role in confronting the North Korean threat.
President Trump defiant in his response to North Korea's 11th missile launch this year, tweeting about North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Does this guy have anything better to do with his life? Hard to believe that South Korea and Japan will put up with this much longer. Perhaps China will put a heavy move on North Korea and end this nonsense once and for all. The president prodding China to do more to confront North Korea, coming one day after a phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The White House saying in a statement that President Trump raised the growing threat of North Korea's weapons program. The Chinese offering a more critical take, noting that the U.S.-Chinese relationship is being affected by some negative factors. President Trump issuing this stern warning on Friday after meeting with the president of South Korea.
The era of strategic patience with the North Korean regime has failed. Frankly, that patience is over.
National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster confirmed publicly that the U.S. has updated its military options against Pyongyang.
We can't repeat the same approach, failed approach of the past. The president has made clear to us that he will not accept a nuclear power in North Korea.
The president's posture towards China clearly changing in recent weeks. Trump appearing to lose faith in Beijing's willingness to take on North Korea.
I wish we would have a little more help with respect to North Korea from China, but that doesn't seem to be working out.
Trump warning in April that he is willing to take unilateral action if China does not do more to contain the threat.
They have a diplomatic responsibility to exert much greater economic and diplomatic pressure on the regime.
This growing tension coming as President Trump prepares to leave for the G20 summit this week in Germany, where he is expected to sit down with President Xi and the leaders of Japan and South Korea, two other countries that the U.S. considers essential to confronting Kim Jong-un.
And President Trump's meeting with President Xi is just one of many high-stakes, significant meetings with world leaders at the G20 summit in Germany. Take a look, of course, a lot of anticipation for his first face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Also a sit-down with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Merkel, who famously did not get a handshake when she was here at the White House. She is already describing the talks with Trump particularly as being very difficult, especially when it comes to climate change. Allison, John.